Good day. I'm going to drink Too Juicy from Two Roads Brewing Company. It is their only New England style IPA that they make under the Two Roads brand name. It's 8.2% alcohol, so double IPA. They make a lot of other IPAs, contract brew IPAs, but this is the only one that's quite like this. A lot of the other IPAs are kind of more traditional. A little bit, though I have enjoyed a lot of Two Roads beer and a lot of contract brewed Two Roads beer, and I've reviewed it a lot on this channel. So this one has pretty good ratings. It's brewed with Citra and then two newer German hops, Hallertauer Blanc and Mandarina Bavaria, and I like both of those a lot. Let's see what happens with this one. Yeah, it's not super hazy. People were saying, yeah, it's not crazy murky, but definitely hazier than almost every other Two Roads beer, Two Roads IPA I've seen. It's really pale. Even their contract brewed beers that are supposed to be hazier, juicier type things, like the Stillwater ones, I don't think even any hazier than this one. And it's weird, it's interesting. When I bring it to the light, it gets more golden, but when I bring it over here, it looks really just like kind of a hazy, super pale Saison. Yep, that's got a lot of that, what I usually call like Smarties aroma. Definitely seems Citra, like it's got a little bit that sweet, heavy, tropical Smarties Citra aroma. Yeah, it almost reminds me of what some lupulin powder hopped beers smell like. It smells like it's going to be pretty sweet, and I'm not getting any dankness at all. Not much resinous character either. I can tell it's a hop and not, actual fruits added. Almost a honey sort of malty thing going on. And I don't know, the Hallertau Blanc, often they say that it gives white grape sort of flavors. And the Mandarina Bavaria obviously is mandarin orange, but this one is pretty tropical and, generic Smarties candy flavors. At least in the nose. So I shouldn't say flavors, I should say aromas, but same thing in the long run. The feel isn't super soft because it's not, super thick and hazy, but it's very fruity. And I do think they seems like they do use a different yeast in this one than the other cleaner yeasted standard Two Roads beers. Yeah, it does give me this stone fruit tang. It seems like it's one of the yeasts related to the Conan ale yeast and like more fruitier English ale yeast rather than the clean American yeast that they use for their standard IPAs and stuff they brew, year round in large amounts. That's pretty nice. And there is like a very clean hop resin in there, but it just reminds you that it is hop flavors, but I'm not getting any oniony qualities. It's not, there might be a very distant, clean, woody quality, like the woody resin, but it's not piney. But we'll see as it warms up. Usually with these beers, they start really fruity for me, and then once I can get my nose deeper in there, I start getting more dank character. But I'm not getting much in this one. It's kind of, I guess it's a little bit one-dimensional. I like the fruitiness of it, and it does have some body to it, which is nice, but it's not super thick. Really, really mild on the palate. I guess it kind of reminds me of the Firestone Fortum, their unfiltered Tall Boy canned double IPA. the first one they released last spring. That one I feel like was even a little bit milder. It wasn't quite as hazy. Maybe this has a little bit more body to it, but and just how it's just so fruity and really mild. I feel like if it had a little bit more of a dank or bite to it or something, it wouldn't seem as sweet. And the finish is just, you know, like ripe peach. It doesn't quite get into the like plasticky peach ring sort of thing. There's a little bit of a tang in there, almost like maybe like more like juicy fruit than peach rings. But it is a very stone fruity, lingering tang. It's pretty nice, but I'm not getting any bitter buildup on my tongue at all. No burn in the back of the throat, not really boozy. This is definitely a good intro New England style IPA probably. And it's really good. They did a really good job of it. Two Roads doesn't seem to mess up any of the brews under their brand names. I've had some of their stuff they brewed for like Stillwater that I was like, meh, this is pretty unremarkable. And now the woodsy resin is building up a little bit in the nose, but it's still just all these sort of generic fake fruity candy flavors with a little bit of tropical. I guess it does have some of that canned pineapple syrup sort of thing going on. And it is nice and soft on the palate. The finish is really easy. It doesn't burn. It doesn't have a weird astringency to it. Like I think the last double IPA I had brewed by Two Roads was Stillwater. It was one of their lactose oat IPAs. I did a review of it. I can't think of the name right now. But that one had this unpleasant bite in the finish. There was same with Captain's Daughter double IPA from Gray Sail. Those two, I just didn't like that finish. It was really not a pleasant finish to a beers that were like pretty nice and fruity to start. And this one stays easy and fruity throughout it, which warrants it definitely a pretty good rating, almost 85. If I hadn't been drinking so many great double IPAs that are really unique and sort of experimental, then this might be more impressive. I'm like a year ago, I might have been like, whoa, this is really awesome. But I do appreciate it because there's so many mediocre New England style IPAs out there. Ones that are even hazier than this, but have less body, and they aren't nearly as fruity. Yeah, that's definitely a good one, and I assume it's a cheaper price. I forgot to check how much it actually costed, but and actually now I'm getting a little bit of a grape thing that actually reminds me of some other Two Roads brewed beers, like maybe their Session IPA, but especially Notch's Session IPA, and also Sip of Sunshine. I think I like this a little more than Sip of Sunshine. It's more tropical, fruity. I guess there's a lot of sweet floral honey flavors that might be coming from those German hops. And there might be a tinge of like canned syrup from mandarin oranges, but it's really a lot of like processed canned sweet fruits and candies, rather than being like, you know, actually a tart, juicy affair. They call it too juicy, but it's more like nectary. Like they took a bunch of those nectars that are kind of a combination of sugar, water, and like, you know, puree. It doesn't have the thickness of a puree to it though, because it's not. Yeah, it's unfiltered, but not made in a way where they try to make it super hazy. But it's still very good. I would highly recommend this one actually. Extremely pleasant, and the finish is just like so pleasant and soft. That don't pass this one up. Basically, a lot of this it's beating out a lot of the smaller brewers New England style IPAs, I would say by a long shot, especially 8.2. There's no boozy burn. Yeah. So do it. Look for this one. Goodbye.